Women's Entrepreneurs Series. I am Kristen Price, your host, and I am ecstatic to introduce to you Miss Shannon Tran. Woo! Ladies, I want to read you her bio. Dr. Shannon Tran is the founder of Money Mindset Mastery Academy, an online mentoring program for ambitious women who want to break free of their limitations and experience financial confidence from the inside out in any economy. She is the licensed clinical psychologist, coach, and international best-selling author. Again, ladies and gentlemen, Miss Shannon Tran. Woo!
Thanks, Kristen, for having me. I'm really excited about this series and really helping women to be successful in their business and their endeavors, and really having their business be able to flow nicely in their life.
Shannon, you are a woman, and I know you personally, to get after the money. Ladies, if you want to get after some money, Shannon, she will just be like, oh, made 10,000 a day. Oh, 3,000 a day. Oh, 2,000 a day. So I wanted to bring her on because that energy she has, she can do it, ladies. If you want to connect with some money and understand the foundation of why maybe you are not in a place you want to be in financially, Shannon is your woman. And so Shannon, thank you again for being here. And I want to ask you this: where did you get started with just understanding the connection with the mindset and the money?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's such a good question. So, I mean, for me, like the drive for it started at a young age, because when my parents divorced, my mom was really left with kind of nothing but a house, and didn't learn about money, and relied on other people for her money. So she was really scared and on the verge of losing things, and didn't have the skill set or the mindset to like really get resourceful and look at her options. And when I started to serve women, one of the things that I found in myself and other women is we attach so much of our worth to money, right? To like money. And what I found is if we have insecurities about our worth, it makes it hard for us to charge. It makes it difficult for us to ask for what we really want. We'll settle for less. We'll think we have to justify. So that's how I started to notice, like, all these women were starting their businesses, but they weren't making money. That was like the dirty little secret. And then when I would listen to them, when they talked about money, it was like a dirty thing, right? They would have guilt, shame, like, oh, my price is this. Like, they weren't in their powerful self. And these are powerful women. And that's what I noticed is, like, you can have a lot of skill, value, experience, but if you don't know how to command your worth, you're going to settle for a lot less.
Wow. Command your worth. Now, the value and worth, where is it happening where you may have all these skills and you don't think you're worth it? What is it in us that levels that off and balances that off?
I've seen different things, and maybe you have too, but one of the things that I see for a lot of women, especially if you're ambitious women, like, a lot of our value comes from doing. If I'm doing, if I'm performing, if I'm helping. So, and which makes it difficult for us to just receive, which means we think, oh, I didn't work hard enough for it. It's got to be harder than this. So we'll like make things much more difficult than what they need to be. And I've learned this because, I have a PhD in clinical psychology, and you would think like, oh, if you have a PhD in clinical psychology, you should make more money, right? What I found is like, no, the people who are making the more money didn't have PhDs. Some of them didn't even have a college education, but they knew how to articulate their value and they knew how to sell, and they felt comfortable selling and asking for the money. And they didn't create all these barriers like, oh my gosh, I need a website, I need to be perfect. I was talking to a friend yesterday because she just started a sales position. And she has her own business, but she, things are a little slow. So she's doing some sales. And she was like, yeah, this woman is making $1 million and she doesn't even have an outline for her business. And I thought, I want to meet that woman that you can make $1 million. You even have an outline for your program and you're making $1 million. Like, that's just how willing to receive she is. You know what I mean? We're like, she's not making it difficult. She's right? Like we're thinking, oh, I've got to have this in place and this in place. No, she's making $1 million with no outline for her program.
Wow, being and doing it. She's just getting out there and getting it.
Yeah,
Wow.
exactly.
So I think, and what do you think is the number one barrier between that though? Like to connect with, okay, my value, I can do it. What is it?
So one of the things so this is me personally, like for me, it's really seeing your value and recognizing and articulating and standing for it. And for me personally, it's like getting my self-image aligned with how God sees me. That's how it is for me, right? Because I'm going to be in my limitations and in my fears. But if I can just like land on how God sees me and just stand on that, it kind of takes care of like 80% of our insecurities
Yes.
and us being creative and allowing God to support us and receiving that support. So for example, like, one of the things I learned too is not to beat myself up when things don't go my way. Because if you're an ambitious woman and if things aren't going your way or not making progress, it's easy to like start to doubt yourself, double the effort, something's wrong with me, feel frustrated. That's what I've learned. And now I'm recognizing, like, if I could have talked to myself 5 years ago, I would have said, now Shannon, this is probably going to take longer than you think it is. And it's not going to be a smooth road. So you might as well enjoy the ride, because this is going to be, you have a vision of what it is. And then there's going to be these obstacles, and you just keep pressing forward and leaning on like God's promises, and you'll get there. But it's probably going to take longer than you think it is.
Right. So it's I guess the beginning is not the territory. So you have to go through the process, the processing, trusting it.
Yeah, because what I've learned is, people think about this result, whether it's the money or a result in your business or whatever it is for you. But what's really happening is you're becoming the person you need to be in order to be a match to that experience.
Right.
Right? Because the version of me that can call a friend and say, hey, I wanna come behind you and let's bring some money in your business, and then bring in 30,000 for her, is a different me than the version of me that didn't go through my trials and tribulations. Does that make sense?
Right.
Right? Because when you go through trials and tribulations, you develop like confidence, resilience, trust, grit. Like you develop all of these skills in the process of becoming and working towards your result that I think a lot of women don't consider and they don't see as valuable.
Yes.
That is valuable. Like that's part of your value, is who you are being.
Right, absolutely. And I want to just commend you because of you. Surely, I mean, Shannon, I've seen you. You, like you just said, that example, that wasn't an example, that was the truth. You
Right.
brought money to your friend like
Yes.
quickly, but just by an idea, and the power of an idea and how you can make that work to create the money that you need. I want to ask you this because you were saying something else, and you talk about money mindset. So, what is a money mindset?
Yeah, great question. So it's the beliefs, it's the attitude, it's the emotions, it's the actions that you take that are either congruent or incongruent. And that's the embodiment piece, right? So for example, if you've seen highly successful people, right? Think of just a highly successful person. What over time you'll hear them say is like, yeah, if I lost it all, I can recreate it.
Right.
The reason, right, you've heard people, the reason that they can recreate it is they now have the belief system. So they're not in conflict with themselves over it, both consciously and subconsciously, right? So consciously and subconsciously, those beliefs align. They have the attitude like whatever it takes, or yeah, I'm going to ask for it. They have the skill set, negotiation, communication, like those I call them $1 million skill sets. And I believe there's $10 million skill sets for 7-figure people, right? That they have. So there's a mindset, a skill set, an attitude, and the feelings that go with it, right? So like, I've come to a point where, and maybe you have too, Chris, in your journey, like there's just parts in your life where maybe you just don't go as low as you used to.
Yeah.
Like, do you know what I mean? Your ceiling is different. So
Mhm.
at certain levels of your development. So what that means is like if I have a setback in a certain area of my life, it doesn't throw me off a whole lot because I have resilience skills, and I'm able to recover a lot quicker, or it just doesn't pull me down into doubt and negativity like it used to. And
Right.
that's building your entrepreneurial muscles. It's building, your value in yourself, which is why I love what you're doing in this series, because it's really women helping other women, which I think you need. Because, and I love um,
Thank you.
aligning with women that are different than me, because we all have our strengths. So when I go to a friend and say, hey, I want to come behind you, I'm coming in as the energy of the driver, right? Because that's my personality, the driver, like let's, and she's totally like the supporter, the promoter, because she's got all this great energy. But if she's in a place in her life where it's hard for her to drive herself, having women support you and bring in that energy is so powerful. This is why I love what you're doing, because it's like creating a community of women to support each other and help each other build each other up and support each other in our businesses. And so I just love like that concept.
Thank you, Shannon. And you are doing that. You're driving us in, girl. You're driving us. Now, I see faith is an important part of your life and what you do. And tell me what has your faith in God and your belief, what has that done to help you to get to where you are right now?
Yeah, for me, it's, you know, everything. And I'll tell you why. I remember 5 or 6 years ago, and I've always wanted to be a person who tithe because I consider myself, like a giver. And even in high school, I was contributing to, I would save some of my lunch money and like support someone in Africa, right, to go to school. Like I was savvy that way with money. I was always savvy. My dad would give me like $5 for lunch. I'm like, I don't need $5. I can get my lunch and support someone in Africa. So I was doing that at a young age. And I just remember like here I was, a psychologist making six figures. Like I was making good money, but my mindset, this is why mindset is so critical, was still poverty, like scarcity, right? Like, oh my gosh, and everything I'm buying on sale. And do you know what I mean? Because I'm in my scarcity thing. Oh, I don't want to spend that. I can't afford that. Like my thinking wasn't aligned with
Right,
who I say I want to be. So
right.
one day I just was like, because I kept saying to myself, maybe ladies can relate to this. Oh, I will do that when. I'll tithe to God when. And I thought, no, it's now. If I'm going to be this person now, like that's me putting off my who I am. So I
Mhm.
just made a decision like I'm going to tithe to God. And I kid you not, ever since I made the decision, and by the way, when I made the decision, a lot of fear came up. It was the fear I wasn't dealing with. A lot of fear, like, oh my God, what if my bank account? And I just made that decision. And I kid you not, ever since then, I've never drafted before. Like since then, I've seriously always had money, like just come to me magically. I've always, no, I'm not even kidding. Like I
I
invest.
believe you.
Oh,
I
yeah,
believe you.
because
I
we've had this
know.
conversation,
I know.
right? I'm like, oh my gosh, like I'll text you, oh my gosh, right? Like I just got 2,000 or 1,000. Like the other day, I just woke up and a client gave me some money. I was like, that's what I'm talking about, right? So, and and because I just like seriously bless my money, and that's the relationship right now I have with God. Like when I make money, God makes money. When I make money,
Woo!
Dirk makes money, right? Like God is
Yes.
my partner in this. So it behooves God to bless me because I'm blessing God and what I believe in. And that's the key. It's like you'll know what you value based what you spend your money on.
Yes.
So go look at what you spend your money on. And it's going to say a lot about you, like where your mindset is, how you view yourself. Like just go get your phone and look at like your last 30-day purchases, and you will learn so much about yourself, what you value, and how you see yourself. And that's one of the key things that I learned too. It's like, wow, everything, like I'm saying I'm this person, but everything I'm buying is cheap. What's that about? Like, what? I don't think I deserve quality. So for me, like committing to tithing and just going from that place of total commitment is what made the difference in my income.
That's awesome. Now, you talk about the mindset of okay, having a cheap mindset versus I'm not say cheap or the way somebody thinks of poverty
Scarcity.
versus the scarcity versus the prosperous, or what is the other side of it?
Yeah, like abundant,
Abundance.
prosperous mindset.
So What, I guess, can you go into more detail about that? Because a lot of people don't even realize that they have a scarcity mindset or a
Yeah.
prosperous mindset.
Yeah. This is such a great question. I love that you're asking, because this is where you get to actually see where there's gaps for you, right? So
Mhm.
like when you want something, or let's just say whenever you're stretched to either purchase something or invest in yourself, what's the conversation in your head? For example, do you say, I can't afford it? So if you're saying I can't afford it, you've already lost the game, because you're in scarcity. The
Mhm.
better question when you're in prosperity is, how can I afford it? I want that. How can I afford it? What's possible? And when I'm talking with women and they say that to me, I said, listen, let's stop right here, because let me support you. You got to remove that thinking from your mind, because if that's how you operate, you'll never afford anything. You'll
Mhm.
never afford anything if that's how you're operating. So it's looking at you saying, I can't afford it. I don't deserve it. I'm not worth it, right? I'm not worth the investment. It's too expensive for me.
Mhm.
All that kind of thinking is signs of scarcity,
Right.
right? Or what's the cheapest thing you have? That's, you're not even looking at, what do I want? What do I want? It's, what's the cheapest thing? So not spending money on yourself, putting yourself last.
Mhm.
um Not like the language you use, and of course like how you price your products and services, right? So if it's way under its value, that's not honoring your worth.
Right.
So you'll see it in behaviors, and you'll see it like in your language,
Mhm.
because language reflects how you perceive yourself. And there's a saying out there, you can never outperform your own self-image. So you will never make more than your self-image. So if you want to make more, you need to elevate your self-image, right?
That's powerful. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So you're saying, so what if somebody says, well, I don't have the money in my account? So they should say, what should they say if they don't have the money in the account, but they want to be in an abundant mindset?
Yeah. So let me ask you this. Have you ever purchased something you really wanted and you didn't have the money in your account?
Yes, absolutely.
Oh, me too. Yeah, like totally. And what typically have you said? You've probably said, hmm, let me get resourceful. Let me get resourceful. Let me figure it out. What are my options? You start to like find a way, right? You start to tap into resources.
Hmm. Absolutely.
So then what you want to say to either yourself or the person you're talking to is, okay, because you, first of all, you want to ask, do you typically stop there? Do you typically stop and say, I can't afford it, and that's your stop?
Hmm.
And if that's how the person runs their life, you can tell they're running in scarcity, because they're not in possibility. Most things, even when you're highly successful, your dreams will get bigger and bigger, and you probably won't have the money, because it's all about being resourceful, right? Tony Robbins says it's not how many resources you have, it's how resourceful you are. So
Yes.
that's $1 million skill to learn. I told you it's $1 million skill. That's one of them. So then you would start to ask yourself, okay, that money isn't there, but someone has the money. Where's the money? And here's what I've learned actually from going through an intensive training with you, Kristen, is like, you can create money from nowhere, because remember we did a charity together basically, right? And in 24 hours we raised like $1,500.
Absolutely.
Like, and we couldn't donate ourselves. So we didn't have the money because we couldn't give it. And how we got it was inspiring people, asking people. So how do you get it? Sell stuff, set up a GoFund, like what, right? Cash out things, preset, like anything and everything is possible when you
Yeah.
just decide, this is what I want. This is what I want. What's possible? So you stay in possibility. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. It does. It's clear. And then when you're saying in possibility, then you're in that abundant mindset because there's
Yeah,
always possibility.
exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
And when I'm in my limitations, I always just keep saying, I'm willing to see possibilities. I'm willing, I'm willing, I'm willing. So my mindset stays open, because otherwise it'll quickly close and narrow down to wherever your current belief system is.
Yeah. Yeah. And staying in that lane, in that box, then you're going to stay there.
You're going to just keep recreating the same thing over and over and over and over again.
Wow. Ladies, time to be in your possibilities. What's possible? Everything and anything is possible if you just believe it. That's so,
Yeah, and that's the faith piece, right? Like
yeah.
that's the faith piece. It's having faith, believing. So I'll give an example. Like this is how crazy like possibility is. So all of a sudden I thought to myself, because Father's Day is coming up from the time of this interview. And I thought, okay, my husband came through big for me this year. So
Mhm.
I want to do something special, not like little candy and knickknack. And I thought, what would blow him out of the water? What would blow him out of the water that he would be, oh my gosh, like how the hell did she create this? And I thought to myself, Hawaii. So I just decided
Woo!
Hawaii. I don't know how, what, like I wasn't planning on Hawaii. I was like, if I just looked at my finances, I'd be like, Hawaii, girl, you're going to Israel in a couple of months. I said, no, Hawaii, we're going to Hawaii. So it turns out I had a voucher that pretty much paid for half of his ticket, and then they had a great sale. So I got a ticket to full thing to Hawaii for him to Hawaii for like $300. So I surprised him. He's so happy. He's like, "You should come with me." And I thought, he's right. I should come with. Now I'm like, okay, who's gonna pay for my ticket, Lord? Who's gonna pay for my ticket? All of a sudden, because I made that decision. How is this going to happen, Lord? Like, I really want to go to Hawaii. I think we should go together. Like, I got, oh, no, here's what happened, you guys. Talk about resourceful. This is why God blows my mind and how generous he is. All of a sudden, I had an awareness, like, I have a credit card that I use that I pay in full, but it gives me miles. I was like, what do I got here? Because I've been using it and paying it off. I had $800 of like points that I can convert to cash. It paid my ticket and beyond. So like basically I created this trip to Hawaii for free because I got resourceful, right? I didn't look it for my bank. It came from the points in my credit card. This
Wow.
is like, do you guys see that? Do you see how possible things are when you just look at possibility? On my own, I wouldn't have thought about it. In fact, I hadn't, because those points have been sitting there for 2 years, but I kept being a possibility. And then the thought came in
Wow.
of, oh, I wonder if I have points. $800 of the point. Isn't that great? So that's how it happens. Do you see how like it can manifest from anywhere when you stay in possibility?
Yes, yes. And I look at this, even as ladies are watching this video, to hear you, because I know when I get in a room with you or just hearing you, you excite me. I'm like, yeah, that's possible, girl. Yeah, I can do this. Yeah, yeah, that's right, Shannon. So look, I'm your cheerleader, but you're my cheerleader because I'm like, yeah, I didn't see it that way. Yeah, that makes sense. And for sure, I just want to commend you too, because you quickly gave me a quick idea for a business strategy, and I was able to implement it like in 2 weeks and get it done and see revenue from it. So it's possible, as Shannon is speaking on this thing, she's not joking on seeing possibility and then acting on it once you see it, to actually implement it, because a lot of times we may see the possibility and then we stop. So what is it on the people, like say my personality, they'll say, well, oh, I see it, it's fun, but we don't take action? What are ways women can take action on the possibility?
So this is why, again, going back to, I love what you're doing, because we need mentors and community. And it's always about who you surround yourself with, right? You want to surround yourself with people who can lift you up. If you're the smartest person in the room, you're settling. You shouldn't be the smartest person in the room. You should be someone who hanging around people who bring out aspects of yourself. So for example, what's great is like our personalities complement, because I can be the driver, which means sometimes I forget to relax and have fun, and you bring in the joy, the fun, like, okay, and which complements me, right? So for that person that needs either accountability or support in taking action, have a friend, have a partner, have a mentor, right? Like work with someone who recognizes that you need that, which is, I know what you do with your clients, right? Where you say, okay, I'm going to take you through this, so that you're helping them get into action, because the idea without implementation, it's not embodied. Like,
Right.
think about that. How many people do you know? And I hate when people say this. So if you're one of them, God, I hugs to you, but I do this too, and it gets under my skin. Do this. I know, but you don't do it.
Right.
That, like when I do that, I say to myself, just slap myself, because I know that's wrong thinking. That's just like, me playing small and letting fear control. And so what I've learned to do is, as best I can, it's never 100%, is I move, I take action at the moment of like recognition.
Right.
I don't procrastinate and overthink and delay. I move and take action. That's a skill set. But to answer your question, you can just do this through mentorship, accountability, a friend. Your phone could remind you, like all of that, right? All of that. Having someone that supports you, like what you offer women, having someone that supports you and will hold you accountable and will walk you through the fear. So you're taking action until it's embodied and you can do it on your own.
Absolutely. That's some good stuff. Now, ladies, if the ladies were questioning, they said, Shannon, well, look, what can I do today to get out of this um, unmastered mindset with money? I want to get out of this mindset. Can you give me 3 things today, right now, that I can implement in my life to get out of it? What would you tell them?
Okay, absolutely. Number one, sit quiet with yourself and just ask yourself, what are your 5 top beliefs about money? And just notice what comes up. Money is what? So fill in that blank. Money is what? If you notice they're all negative beliefs, you need to clean that up. You've got to clean up your money beliefs because we take action or not based on our beliefs. Our beliefs are the filter. So if you've got negative beliefs, you can't even see possibility if it's right there because the filter narrows it. That's step one. Step two is I would practice having. Practice having. So what do I mean by that? We're so conditioned in today's society, like to be in lack. What's missing? I don't have that. So, and by the way, here's my second, in terms of something very practical for your audience, get the book. It's called The Having. I'm looking around because I have it over there, but it's called The Habit. Hold on a second. Let me grab it because it's so
Thank
juicy.
you. You're answering my next question anyway, so that's perfect.
Okay. Seriously, ladies, I would get this book. I'm reading it. My mentor is having me reading it again. I've already read it and she's told me read it again. It's called The Having, The Secret Art of Feeling and Growing Rich. So this is a guru in Korea and she studied that, like the most successful wealthy people. And she found they had something in common and it's called practicing having, which means abundance. So anytime you're in lack, you're saying, I don't have it. When you practice having, what that does is it helps you be in the space of already being abundant and creating more, right? Because you create more of where you come from. And it comes with very practical things to practice. So that's tip number 2. Tip number 3 is really get clear on like your value. Write down all your accomplishments, write them all down and put some value to it. Like, wow, what's the value of being able to be a loving, positive person? What's the value of like anything you've reached and achieved in your life? Put value to it. Don't minimize it. Don't say it's insignificant. Because a lot of times what we've been through in our experience actually solve $100,000 problems. We just don't see it.
Yes.
Right? We don't see that when we've recovered from a setback or like, for example, you, Christian, your ability to like be a mom and wife plus build a business, that's like that could be $1 million solution for someone, right? Because the ability to handle both and how do you manage that and expectations and priorities, if someone could learn that one skill that you're doing could produce $1 million, right? So that's us actually valuing our worth and saying, you know what, here's all the things I've accomplished so you can see your worth. Because remember, I told you, like, you can't outperform your own self-image. And if you see yourself here, how can you expect to charge this? You won't, because you won't articulate your value. You won't charge correctly. You won't go after the right people and the right clients, right? You'll just settle. So you've got to like start writing down all your accomplishments and noticing the value and the worth and start to market to that. So that would be my third suggestion.
That's powerful. Thank you. Ladies, Take heed so you can see. Shannon, do you have two more books? Because I was going to ask you, give me 3 books, but do you have 2 more books you would suggest the women read?
Yeah, so that's one. And of course, I know one that you're reading that's a classic. It's called Think and Grow Rich. Think and Grow Rich. The other one that I like, now people don't talk about it, but I love this book. It's called The Richest Man in Babylon. It's called The Richest Man in Babylon. And I just really love that book because it really talks about like how subtle change, like especially if you're someone who's been in debt and you got some things to pay off, right? You got some past to clean up. It talks about how that guy did it and went from like, and he thought, oh my gosh, I'm never going to get out of this in my lifetime. How he not only got out of it, but like he became the richest man in Babylon. Like this is like talk about from rags to riches. It's your classic rags to riches story, which I just love. So those are like my top 3 favorites that I really love. And it just depends on where you're at because there's books like from it depends on like what direction you want to go. If you don't have a solid financial base, like solid financial education, then like Susie Orman is a good way to go just to be financially literate. Do you know what I'm saying? David Bach, I like his book. Of course, there's Dave Ramsey. Like there's all kinds of good books. But if you're really wanting to get into like the energy of what wealthy people do and you get out of scarcity, it's the having. I love it. It's so good. And there's real stories. I've probably read like, I don't know, 20, 30, 40 books on like money, finances, because it's so interesting to me. It's so interesting.
Yeah, and you're getting to the money, so I love it.
I'm getting to the money.
I love it. I love it, and I love your spirit, Shannon. You love God, but you so when you say humility, you use humility. You embody that, and I believe that's a part of it that you don't talk about. Your spirit of kindness and love and generosity. That you show. And I believe that's why you're continuing to be blessed over and over. And then when people are connected to you, they're continuing to be blessed. So thank you for just the overflow.
You're welcome.
And also, how can the ladies be connected with you?
Yeah. And when you said that, I want to say one last thing because it's so important that we don't want to forget about money. Money is simply a magnifier of who you already are. This is why if you are already a generous person, money will give you that. So this is where like, if there's parts of yourself you need to work on, go work on it because once you make the money, it's just gonna magnify who you already are. If you're stingy, you'll become more stingy. Like money doesn't solve a character problem. Okay. So praise the Lord for that. Right. Money doesn't solve a character problem. So if you got some character stuff to work on, go work on that because when you make your money, it's just going to amplify that. All right. So how to get to know me, Yes. I know I have a free gift for the women here. It's all about how to elevate your money mindset, which is always like what I'm excited about. So when you join in that free gift in elevating your money mindset, we'll connect. That's how you'll get to know me. And you could always reach out to me simply by emailing me if you'd like, support@shannontranphd.com. But in the free gift, that's how we will get to know each other. You can know a little bit more about me, experience me through the gift that I'm offering, and then we can continue to build the relationship together.
Awesome. And thank you for the free gift as well, ladies. Get it, girls.
Get it. Elevate your money mindset.
Yes. Thank you, Shannon. This was awesome. Make sure you connect, ladies. And I love you guys and love you, Shannon.
Oh, I love you too.